Hello again and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse here, and I am back for another channel update and assorted random topic video. If things sound a little bit different this time, it's because I'm trying out a new piece of hardware and doing some experimentation. I am actually trying out a new headset that I just acquired. Huge thank you, and shout out to Blind Joe. We were talking about some of the microphone problems I've been having recently in some of the types of videos that I've been doing with the Turtle Beach, and we were trying to come up with ideas and things. And he sent me an email the other day. He's like, "Hey, just to let you know, I may have a surprise coming for you in the near future for the channel." And I got it yesterday. I've been experimenting with it ever since, and so we're trying to figure things out. Uh, Let me know what you think about the microphone quality. I think it's not too bad from what I've got adjusted. The only problem that I'm having thus far is that after I'm trying to record, if there's no computer audio going through the headset, it seems to want to turn itself off. And there is a setting in the GG software, the PC software, that you can get that is supposed to disable that. By default, it was 30 minutes, but for some reason, it seems to I turned it to never, and now it's turning itself off even after a shorter period of time. So, still ironing out the kinks and figuring things out, but it has a lot of potential. Huge thank you again to Joe for this surprise. And, we'll see how it goes. And once I have had a chance to use it for a while, I will do a hardware review for it. But anyway, on to the regularly scheduled programming. Um, So, again, I just want to thank everybody who's been supporting the channel. It is very much appreciated. And anyone new to the channel, I have videos coming out every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And I have everything divided into playlists as well. So you'll find, low vision game videos, low vision spotlights, blind accessible games for PC, console, and mobile. I mean, anything from, VR accessibility, game accessibility, other projects I've been working on, interviews and presentations I've done, the Growing Up Illegally Cited playlist, the Toby Doom, retro first person shooters, all kinds of stuff. So please check out the playlist section if you have not done so, and hopefully you'll find something of interest there. But again, thank you to everybody who has been supporting the channel. I've been doing this since 2012, and yeah, it's been fun. As far as some channel updates go, I have several videos recorded already for some really cool games that have been coming out this fall. I still have lots of videos to record for games that I want to get around to playing. I've got at least a few mobile games that I have gotten recently, and I want to get around to playing them, period, let alone doing a video. There's one or two that I've started. Like yesterday, I literally just started the latest in the Adventure to Fate series, and the Adventure to Fate dungeon game. That seems like a pretty solid game, although they're taking a little bit of a different twist with it, where it's more of a run-based sort of a game where you only have, depending on the difficulty, either 1 or 3 lives. And then if you die, then you create a new character and you start over. So it's a interesting take. But if you've played any of the Adventure to Fate series, you should feel right at home with a lot of the interface and everything. So I will try to be checking out those games in the future, and just so many more. I woke up to a really interesting surprise also this morning. Just a huge shout out to the other nominees as well, because there were some great people on the list. But I saw a post on Twitter right away this morning. The Game Accessibility Awards, the GA Conf Awards. The voting is available for those awards as of now, and believe it or not, I actually made the advocate category. So I was pretty surprised, a pleasant surprise on that. A lot of other people in the that were nominated in that category, and you can vote for me if you choose. That would be really cool. But regardless, you can vote at the GA Conf Awards. You can follow me on Twitter at BGFH79. I've reposted the link there, and if you just go to the GA Conf website, you'll find the link to the awards there as well. So that was a really cool surprise to learn of recently. Um, Otherwise, like I said, there's so many games I want to cover. There's so many I want to record. I've got games on my backlog. Also, remember that Toby Doom 9.0 is publicly available for everybody. And I want to give a shout out to Blind Warrior Gaming, is another channel that he's doing a blind playthrough using the classic Doom levels. So he's currently, I believe, in partway through episode 3 of the original Doom. So he's taken the harder path because the Toby Doom levels are based on the original games, but more of like a streamlined, accessible experience. But you can play the original levels, and that's what he's doing. So I've been following him on that for a while, and it's been a cool thing to watch. So shout out to them. I posted a link to that playlist in his channel on Twitter and Blue Sky recently, so yeah, check that out again. Give another blind creator some support. And yeah, the other cool thing Toby Doom related is Mr. Alan D1 sent me a video link to somebody who took the Toby Doom challenge, a sighted player who is creating. He created a video where he turned off his monitor, did the whole blindfold thing, and tried to get through the Toby version of E1M1, the hangar level. And I kind of want to do a video in the near future about navigating like audio game levels as a blind person versus as a sighted user, because while watching his video it was interesting. I made a few interesting observations about how whether you have all these accessible audio features and audio cues and things, but I think it's really interesting because if you're sighted, you don't have, you're just used to going wherever your vision takes you or wherever you want to go. Where, even if you were blind or low vision, odds are maybe you've had some O&M, some orientational mobility training. You've learned different techniques for walking and navigating around a space. Um, and if you've never had that as a sighted person, it's interesting, like I said, you can get lost a bit easier because you don't have those sort of techniques as like, oh, okay, now that I can't see anything, how do I get around? So it is really fascinating. And so I kind of want to do a video on that if I can at some point here. Um, so yeah, some Toby Doom stuff coming. Like I said, check that out. It's in a really great state right now. Huge thank you to the Toby team for making such an awesome mod even better every time. God, what else? Like I said, there's a few games coming out in November. I know the Marvel. I did a demo time video for that Marvel beat 'em up. That's coming out literally on December 1st, so I'm looking forward to that. We've probably got a couple of retro shooters coming out. We literally just had a couple more come out in the last few days. We have that Outlaws remaster and the Rack remake. I did a demo time video for that earlier this year. So there's still stuff that I need to get around to playing. There's games that I need to try to either finish or see if I want to, continue. Outer Worlds 2. I haven't done a video for that yet, but I've started playing that, poking at that. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. These are long RPGs, so who the heck knows when I'm going to get around to trying to play some of these. But and then all these little smaller games. I want to get back to things like Ball Pit or just I have so many just cool little indie games that I want to just get back to. But I've had so many other things going on with work and side projects and other things that I'll be able to talk about here probably pretty soon. And, again, just I've been playing an awful lot of Power Wash Simulator 2 and doing a lot of reading and audio, audiobooks and podcasts while listening to that. So, or while playing Power Wash Simulator 2. So, yeah, I'm hoping that with things slowing down around Thanksgiving here, I have a long weekend coming up. Maybe I'll be able to get around to playing some of this other stuff and doing a few more videos, especially creating some of these accessible iOS videos. Because unfortunately, you know, 2025 has been a great year for games, for low vision and mainstream games, but it maybe hasn't been quite the best year for blind accessible mainstream games. We've had F1, which I wish that F1 was more like it had the menu narration, because the driving in it is pretty solid. It's kind of doing a similar thing to Forza, and I think they did a pretty good job with it, especially for their first run. I think I read somewhere recently that they're not going to be doing a 2026 version. They're just going to be adding content to the current game, and so if that's the case, I would love to see them think about accessibility for that year update and even add, even if they couldn't get everything this time, if they could pull a Mortal Kombat 11 and get people into the race, allow people to turn on and navigate through and adjust some of the blind accessible features that are there for the in-game racing. That's something I would love to see happen. But yeah, I mean, there's been, like I said, there's that Sounds Terrifying game on Steam I covered recently. They've done some stuff with a few other games here and there, but it's been pretty light. We haven't really heard anything about what's coming in 2026 as far as blind accessibility, but I'm hoping that one of these big games and even some of these smaller ones will have more blind accessibility, because like 2023, man, we were eating pretty good. There was a surprising number of games that year that were doing pretty nice things for blind accessibility. I mean, this year, like I said, we've had a lot of games that have done really nice low vision accessibility, high contrast modes, really nice font size and UI options. I forget if it was Avowed or Atomfall that had just a ginormous text size option. There was the lot of games that are having high contrast modes. I'm starting to use those a lot more than I thought I would. Thankfully, we are getting some accessibility through the Steam Deck and Steam OS this year. The Switch 2 has a base level screen reader, although in both cases we need to be able to access the stores, the eShops, and other things. But, the fact that they're even starting to consider accessibility is a huge leap forward. So hopefully it can only get better from here. But yeah, it's been a pretty wild year. There's been a lot. I've been mainly playing indie games or smaller games this year, and there's been some really cool, really creative ones. There's been remasters. There's been, a lot of boomer shooters that have been really fun. There's been just all kinds of different things. I just wish there were more that were blind accessible, playable. Um, Hopefully, again, that'll change in the future. But please do check out the Game Accessibility Awards, the GA Conf Awards, and vote. There's a lot of different categories that they have every year, and different disability categories, different like journalism and developer of the year, most dedication, just all kinds of cool things. And like, you could vote for yours truly if you wanted to. Just saying. But yeah, so that's nothing's really changing with the channel right now. I got to start thinking about my end of year videos. Thankfully, I've been keeping a log of all the games I've been playing, the mainstream games, accessible games, retro shooters, like I said, iOS and PC accessible games I've been playing. Otherwise, I'd never remember some of my personal highlights of the year, and I've had some pretty cool ones. I've had some pretty cool opportunities this year. So there's that. We've had a fair few different game adaptations this year. We've had, the Twisted Metal. We've had the Splinter Cell thing series, which was recently on Netflix, which is actually quite good. I'm looking forward to season two. Of course, The Last of Us season two, which I'm curious how that's gonna turn out because they're far from completing the story of the second game, and I'm curious how they're gonna adapt that. And there were a couple really cool episodes of season two, but it didn't hit near as well as the first season did, I think. I think it was like the second or third episode this season was really good, but like I said, this one just didn't hit near as well. But I can talk about some of those things, so I gotta work on doing those at some point. Um, Otherwise, yeah, that's sort of what's going on with the channel. Um, Unfortunately, speaking of series or movies or adaptations, one disappointing thing that I just learned about is they were going to be doing a some sort of a R-rated TMNT Last Ronin movie, but that just got canned recently apparently. And now they want to do instead they sort of I don't know if it's going to be a reboot or some sort of other live action TMNT new movie adaptation, and this is in addition to the Mutant Mayhem movie. But yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to a new TMNT movie, but especially since I haven't really gotten to read a lot of the Last Ronin comic books, I want that particular series, I want that to be adapted to games and movies or TV shows. So I think there's supposed to be some sort of audio or audible version of it coming out in 2026 at some point, which I'm very, very intrigued about, and I hope that keeps going. I hope they're supposed to be making a Last Ronin game, and I hope that doesn't get canceled. I would love to see that at the Game Awards, some first footage of that, just to know that that's moving along. But yeah, apparently they axed the Last Ronin movie, which is a bummer. Um, we got to do more of the same. God forbid, we try something different. Because we got to make all the money. I don't know, but yeah. So those are some of the things I wanted to just briefly touch on. Again, this video is a lot of thank yous and a lot of shout outs and everything. I do unfortunately want to or have to shout out Rebecca Heineman. You may not know the name, but she has impacted gaming in lots of different ways over the years. Unfortunately, she passed away recently due to the stupid cancer. I forget which one it was, but man, just fuck cancer. I know everybody says it, but it's so true because cancer is just. I know so many people personally, professionally, whatever that we've lost to it. And yeah, we like I said, she just lost her battle with cancer. I mean, she's been in the industry. You may have heard the name Burger Becky in reference. I mean, she was one of the first people to compete and win one of the gaming competitions in the early 80s. It was a Space Invaders competition, I believe. But she's worked on hardware, she's worked on, game creation, porting games, making new games, um, remastering games. I mean, she's just done so much stuff. I think she's done a few GDC talks. There's a really fascinating a couple of videos that she did a few years ago. She was the one who ported, was it, I forget if it was the 3DO version of Doom. Um, I forget what platform it was. It was like either the 3DO, I don't think it was the Jaguar. But it was this infamously bad port of Doom, and it's not her fault. I mean, she gets a load of credit for just making it happen to begin with. Especially when you hear about the circumstances that she had to go through. I think she had less than it was like 6 to 10 weeks or something that she had to try to get this port going, and she didn't really have much in the way of like source code or resources. They're just like, hey, here's Doom, make a game, make it a game for this platform. And just I can't even go into all the shenanigans, but as a huge Doom fan, it was fascinating to hear. But yeah, unfortunately, we're just starting to lose so many great people in this industry. It's really sad, but definitely want to give her a shout out. And I don't want to end on anything, I don't want to end on something negative, but so I know there was some other thing that I wanted to briefly mention, and now I can't remember what it is. We talked about Toby Doom, we talked about the channel. Oh, I did want to briefly mention, give an update on the glasses thing. I talked a bit, I did that video with the first impressions of the Ally Solos glasses, and I haven't played with them a whole lot since because I'm kind of waiting to see. I'm waiting for more Ally updates or firmware updates to the glasses because they technically work, but I'm just not that impressed with them. Like the buttons on the glasses, I don't know if they can kind of adjust or fix how they respond. Um, they it's really the the speed or lack thereof that is a huge disappointment because again, like I've had several people ask me recently, and I've been playing with the meta glasses again more, and just being able to read text or instantly say, hey, what am I looking at, and within 2 seconds tops it's like boom, it's reading or it's telling you what you're looking at. And especially like with the reading, it's gotten a lot better. And so, like, that's been really helpful. Of course, AI still has its hallucinations no matter what model or what platform you're using, whether it's Gemini or Ally or ChatGPT or whatever, or Meta AI. But, it's just one of those things. But, on average, it does a pretty good job. And as far as, like, what it's telling me, um, the accuracy seems fairly on par with Ally versus Meta AI. Of course, Ally, you're probably going to get a little bit more description that is a bit more relevant to a blind or visually impaired user because that's, what that app is designed for. But, Meta did add that you can check that, or you can turn that switch on in the Meta AI app where you can say, I want extended descriptions. That does help a little bit. But like I said, I'm not gonna do a hardware or an assistive technology review of those glasses until I see some future updates because I really want to see where this goes. Because I would love to be able to recommend it, but right now I'm just I don't know, and I'm kind of frustrated with them right now because I've been trying to work out a thing with them. I subscribed to their Pro subscription earlier this year in like July, and so that's fine. But when I got my meta, or when I got my solos glasses, you get a free year of pro with that as well. And so what should have happened is they should have added or appended my my solos subscription plan in onto my additional year that I paid for in July, but it's currently still sitting like, oh, I it overrode it instead. So now my subscription says it started on October 28th this year and it'll end October 28th next year. No, I should still have like 9 months. So it should be well into 2027 before my subscription expires. And I've tried, talking to them on Slack. I've sent them an email, and I still haven't heard anything back. And I know, I want to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because they're dealing with all kinds of support issues and troubleshooting and updates and things with the recent glasses releases. But still, this isn't really a technical problem. I would like to have this resolved. Because, I mean, if you pay a little chunk of money for that initial subscription, I don't want to lose that. And so I'm not going to forget about it. And I'm going to try to get this resolved. Otherwise, I will not be renewing my subscription moving forward if I don't get this fixed. Um, I'm still on schedule, hopefully in early to mid December, to get a Pioneer version of the Echo Vision glasses. They, a coworker of mine actually got his already several days ago, and I haven't seen them yet. Maybe I'm hoping to sometime this week when I go to the office, but boy, I don't know. Like, I know he went to CSUN and saw an early demonstration of them. He got to try them, and he was pretty impressed with them then. But he said that since then they've almost regressed in, I don't know if functionality or stability or whatever, but he has really mixed feelings and he's kind of frustrated with those too. So I'm glad that they backed off their 1.0 release if they have that much fixing and development to do. Again, I know people want to try the latest and the greatest and play with their new toys, but these beta programs like a beta app or these, in this case, Pioneer kind of a testing hardware, these are for people. People shouldn't probably be accepting or pre-ordering the Pioneer versions unless they are really willing um, to put in the time to do the feedback, to give the company feedback, test things, offer suggestions, report what's not working and what is working well. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do an assistive technology or a hardware review for the Pioneer glasses, but once I've had, a bit of a chance to play with them, I will try and do, kind of an impressions video so you can at least get an early idea of hopefully what to expect from these EchoVision glasses. So yeah, I've got a couple assistive technology videos hopefully in the works as things iron out with a couple of pair of glasses. Um, and maybe in the video where I talk about the EchoVisions, I can go into a little bit more detail about my experiences and how the Meta Ray-Ban glasses have changed since I got them. What I think it was like May of 2024, and they really, they've seen several updates, and like I said, the reading has gotten better, the image description has gotten a bit better. um, so yeah, I'm gonna try to do some content on that at some point here, and I think that's largely what I wanted to talk about. I mean, there's not much in the way of I already talked in a previous video about all the Valve stuff. Although I know I saw somebody mention it online, but I actually thought of it too around the same time. Things are looking a little scary because Valve has maybe gone to a little bit of elementary math again and learned how to count to three because I didn't even piece it together when I was doing that video on their hardware. They announced not one, not two, but three new pieces of hardware during that announcement. Again, the controller, the Steam machine, and the Steam Frames VR headset. So, there's been so many rumors about a Half-Life 3 or a new Half-Life game, and usually I just go, yeah, it hasn't happened in over 10 years. It's not going to happen. Yes, we did get Half-Life Alyx several years ago, but I I'm like, yeah, it's not going to happen. But I mean, there's been some data mining leaks and everything, and they're actually, I think, I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm not going to, because no matter what they do, I don't know that they can possibly live up to what fans would expect for a Half-Life 3. But the fact that they would even try, I mean, I want to see Valve make games again. I mean, yes, they can just roll around their big pile of money that they make from Steam and Dota and everything else, but like I miss when they made games. Half-Life 1 and 2, Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, Portal 1 and 2. Those are some of the most just amazing first-person games in the industry. I mean, Half-Life kind of, changed the way that first-person shooters were thought of. They weren't Doom clones anymore. Um, Left 4 Dead just was a fantastic single and especially multiplayer game. Um, and you look at Back for Blood, it had some neat ideas, but it just didn't have the something that Valve games do. And yeah, I don't know. I would love a Left 4 Dead 3, Portal 1 and 2, funny, creative games. I know they're doing Dota and everything, and I'm just not into that. But I do wish that they would make some games because they could, they have so damn much money, they could make whatever they wanted and still be okay. Um, so yeah, I part of me is like, yeah, maybe they'll say something at the Game Awards, do a world premiere or something. But part of me also thinks they'll just do it on their own time. And not be part of the Game Awards, and part of me says they're not even gonna do a Half-Life in general. But I think, now would be now or in the near future would be a good time. They've got three new pieces of hardware, and if they want to have a game to go along with it, um, when they did the Steam Deck, they did that. What do they call it? It was that short little experience where you could. I did the video for it. I forget what it was called. The goofy little. It's like a little Steam Workbench thing. Um, and then they did like a Portal remaster for something else, and so you've got all this new hardware. It'd be cool to have a Valve game to go with it. Not just Dota or something. I would love to see something. And even some people are saying, well, yeah, but the Steam machine isn't going to be a top tier gaming rig, and so that would limit what Valve could do with a new Half-Life game. We want it cutting edge. And my thing is I don't even really care about cutting edge these days because I would rather see like I'm not like I've said before, I have very little interest in a PlayStation 6 or whatever the hell they're going to do for a new Xbox system. That could change, but I mean everything is sort of converging to, hey, we're a PC that's kind of a console. That's been a thing for a while now, but it's just seeming to be more that way. And you want to. you still want to have things. Microsoft's got their Windows handhelds, you've got the Steam Deck, you've got the Switch 2, and they're decently powered hardware for what they are, but you're if you're a developer, you're gonna want to make games that are going to run on those platforms, and so you're still going to be designing for lower to mid-tier hardware. And then you have, of course, the enthusiasts that have the big gaming rig towers and such. But the thing is, I would rather, you make a good story, you make some great gameplay mechanics, you make something that's polished, that runs. Give me that anytime over cutting edge. At this point, with games releasing buggy and broken and so focused on monetization, and you've got all these on PC especially, you've got all of these like shader compilation, and you makes your computer freaking rev up. You think it's going to explode or take off into space. Um, Optimization. Um, I know day one patches are normal now, but I just want there to be focus on the games, and I kind of want to see a return to to more handcrafted uh, level design. I'm kind of getting open world fatigue. I do like my run-based games, but I'm also a little bit, wore out on the whole roguelike, roguelite type of thing. Um, it's just everybody kind of, chases the trend. First it was Battle Royale, and then it was card battlers, and then it's roguelike, roguelite, or open world. And like, I don't have a problem with procedural generation or random level design and things like that. But I like going through a well-crafted adventure. Tell me a good story, give me some set pieces, give me some mechanics, and it doesn't even have to be, super flashy. Like, there's nothing wrong with like a classic Doom level or a Quake level of like, hey, I'm going through a well-crafted shooter level. I'm killing dudes and finding keys and whatever. I I don't know. I mean, especially with people just not having as much time, you know, um, I have no problem playing a well-crafted, shorter game. In fact, I like it because then I actually have a chance of finishing them. So again, it's not that I'm opposed to open world or any of these other types of things that I've mentioned, but I just want to see the industry sort of take a step back and, do the reset that it needs, because we've had so many layoffs, so many closures, so many mergers. Just again, we're going to be the Taco Bell future. Like everything is Taco Bell. um, if you know that reference, congratulations. But just yeah, I mean, we have all these little indie game companies, which is great. But as far as your more traditional titles, your AAA games, um, you're getting fewer and fewer developers out there now. We lost Monolith. That still makes me sad. There's, Criterion isn't what it was. Neversoft isn't what it was. But there's just been so many developers that were huge at one time, and I don't mean like big in as in size, but I mean just like BioWare. There was a time where you could just be like, oh, whatever that company's making, I'm in, because they're just making these stellar games. Um, Even Ubisoft, they everything kind of has this same open world feel to it now. And back then they made like the Prince of Persia. They made in the GameCube, Xbox days, they had Prince of Persia. They had Beyond Good and Evil. They had Rayman. They had Splinter Cell. God, Chaos Theory was so good. But they had so many things, and now it's just like, no, it's just another open world. I did try the Avatar game, and I didn't even do a video for it because once I got to the open world, it's a beautiful looking game, but there is just, it's so hard to see where to go, both with the foliage and lack of, in-world navigation that's clear. It was too hard to figure out where to go for quests and things, and it's just like, this being a long, big open world game, I just don't have time to struggle through this, and so it's a bummer. Um, but yeah, those are some thoughts, on current gaming and the future next year and channel updates. And I'm hoping to God that this did record this time. I figured out, I think if this does record, what I have to do is, even though I have the setting to not turn off, it seems to want to for this headset. So I have, and you won't hear it because it's not going through my computer, but I have my phone and my computer paired. I've got my computer paired through the dongle, and my phone is paired, of course, via Bluetooth. And I just have music playing super low volume just so that there's some steady audio going through. And I didn't hear the beeping telling me that the headset went to sleep. And of course, I'm still hearing the music. So, hey, if that's what I have to do to trick it to keep it alive, and if the sound quality, if the microphone is quality is okay, and I get the microphone, um, if it's clear enough and it doesn't interfere when I do the phone or I do these types of videos, hopefully this will work. So if it does, awesome. I may have another tool in my box to use for the channel. And thank you again, Joe, for that. You totally did not have to do that. Um, with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. And again, it's early Monday morning, so I got to go to work. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, Blue Sky at Illegally Cited, illegally-cited.com, and right here on YouTube. Until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.